Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to make a southern recipe. It's called a tomato pie. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a different kind of a crust that goes with it. So stay tuned. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have made a small cake of cornbread, and I used the little cast iron skillet to make this. And I'm going to cut this all up and crumble it up in my bowl and add some things to it to make like a dressing that's going to go on the bottom of my pie. I'm going to start off with half of it. I'm going to crumble it up in here. It's a little bit hot still. Just going to be a simple dressing. It's not going to be like the kind of dressing that you have for Thanksgiving. So I'm not going to put as much stuff in as I would if I was baking a turkey to go with it, or stuffing a turkey. So this is just going to be a little bit simpler. Just cut up your cornbread. It's a little bit warm still. Just crumble it up. And to that, I'm going to chop up some onions. And I'm going to put these onions, my washed onions, I'm going to put in the microwave for a few minutes just to make them a little bit more tender. So I'm going to use one whole onion. And I think I'm going to use a couple of little green onions too. Maybe I'll just use a half. Yeah, maybe I'll try a half first, and then I'll do the little green onions. I don't want the onion to take over the dish. So you want it to cut it fairly tiny, a fine little onion. Okay, so I'm going to put this onion in this little bowl, and I'm going to add a little bit of butter to it and stick it in the microwave for a few minutes. Let me cut these onions up first. I would like to put some green pepper in this, but I don't have any, so we'll not do that this time. Onions up. Put a little bit of butter in this. Stick it in the microwave we'll try a minute. Don't want them to be, really raw in the dressing. Of course, this is going to cook up. We're going to cook it for a little while before we put our tomatoes in it. Move these out of the way. All right, so while we're waiting for the onions to cook up a little bit, set this over out of the way. And go ahead and cut up my tomatoes. And put them on this cookie sheet. The cookie sheet's lined with wax paper, and then I have a rack on top. And I'm going to cut these tomatoes up, and I'm going to put them in the oven for a few minutes to help get some of the juice out of them. We're going to put these on this pan. We're going to put a little bit of salt on them. Get the reddest ones that I can. I washed all these off so they're nice and clean. Make sure you always wash your produce. And your onions too. My mom told me that. She told me make sure I wash my onions, so. I washed my onions, Mom! She's always looking out for me. I cut up some basil over there that I dried from the garden, and chopped it up a while ago. I can smell that basil. It smells really good. Alright. I don't want to make too big of a pie. I'm not sure how much these will shrink up, so let me do one more tomato. You cut up as many as tomatoes as you think you might need. You know, everybody's, you know, pie pans are different, so, or whatever you're going to use to cook your tomatoes in, cook your pie in. Alright, I'm going to put a little bit of salt on these, and that'll help pull some of the water out of them, because you don't want it too, you don't want your tomatoes to be, you know, in your crust, you don't want them to be soupy, so you want to try to draw some of this water out of these tomatoes. So I'm going to put these in the oven and let them set for a few minutes while I get my dressing put together. Okay, so now we're back. We've got our onions are done. We're going to put those in there. Add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and I'm going to put some garlic powder in there, about a good teaspoon. However how much you like garlic, that's what you put in. I'm going to put a little bit of oregano in there. I don't know, about a tablespoon or teaspoon, about a tablespoon. All right, we're going to mix that up. I'm not going to put no poultry seasoning in it because I don't really want it to taste like stuffing. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of chicken broth in this. Now this chicken broth is homemade chicken broth. I had cooked the chicken the other day and I put some spices and stuff in it, and I'm just going to dampen this down a little bit. Not much, because you don't want it to, your tomatoes will, you know, they'll soak up, the bread will soak up some of the tomato juice in that too. You don't want the bottom of this going to be soggy. But we're going to put this in the oven for a few minutes before we put the tomatoes on it. And that's all I'm going to do to that. Okay. I'm going to cook this in a cast iron skillet. I'm going to put a little bit of I'll use butter. Put a little bit of butter in the bottom of it. You can use Crisco or whatever you want to use. I think I'm going to use butter. I butter it pretty generously so it comes out easily when you go to cut it and take it out. All right. I'm going to put this dressing in there. I'm going to save just a little bit of it for the top. Maybe about, that looks like about half of a cup maybe. Save that. I'm going to mash this down in here. You know what, I think I'm going to use all of this, and then I'm just going to crumble some cornbread on top of it. Because I still have half a cake of cornbread here that I can use. So I think I'll just put all that in there. Kind of mash it down as best that I can. I think I'm going to have to use my hands. I think I'm going to have to butter my hands up a little bit though, so it's not, doesn't stick to them. That's better. Kind of mash that down in there like you're making a pie. Maybe bring it up on the edges just a little bit, so when you go to cut your pie out and put it on your plate, it kind of has a little edge on it. All right. So that's kind of what it looks like. All right. All right, so we pull the tomatoes out of the oven. I'm just gonna take a paper towel and kind of dampen, try to get as much of the juice off as I can. It won't take all the juice off, of course, but it'll take some of it. I'm trying to keep the bottom of the crust once it cooks. Let me stick this in the oven because I want it to be cooked. I want it to brown up some, so when we put the tomatoes on there, it doesn't make it soggy. Let me get another paper towel. Okay. All right. Let's make the topping. So here I have 2 cups of cheese. Now you can use any kind of cheese that you want. I've got mozzarella, Parmesan, and just a little bit of cheddar. I didn't have much cheddar. If I'd had more cheddar, I'd made it half and half. And you can use like, what is it, 3 cheeses mixed together in a bag. I don't know what you call it, but you can use any kind of cheese you like. Okay, so to that we're going to add 2 eggs. Well, let me beat them up just a little bit. These are at room temperature. As a matter of fact, I just went and got them out of the hen's nest. Okay, so I can pour that on. Alright, and to that I'm going to put half a cup of mayonnaise. Put a little bit of sour cream. Maybe about, what, 2 teaspoons? Okay, let's see. Then I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of flour. this also had Parmesan cheese in, but I think I'm going to put this a little bit more. Well, this is Romano, Parmesan and Romano. I'm going to put a little bit of that in there, about a quarter of a cup. You can make this your own. You can add, subtract, whatever you like, you know. It's really very easy to do, and you can add spices, whatever spices you think would go good on this, and cheeses that you want. You can add cream cheese, softened cream cheese to this, sour cream, mayonnaise. You have to have the mayonnaise, but you can add other things to it, like the cream cheese or the, I forgot what I said, Parmesan or Romano or sour cream, any of that. Okay, I'm just going to mix that up really good. All right. Check on the cornbread. I just wanted it to get kind of brown underneath. All right, so now let's put the tomatoes on. Like I say, you can put as many or as less tomatoes as you would like. I'm just going to go ahead and use all these up. I wouldn't put an overabundance of tomatoes though, because if you do, it's liable to make your crusts really soggy. Okay, I'm going to salt these, and I'm going to put some pepper on them. And then I'm going to add some basil. Fresh basil would be better. This is dried from the garden, so I think this will work. Put as much or as little as you want. Okay. Now you can add some more spices to this also if you want to put some more garlic on there, some more onion powder. You could put some more oregano. You can put, let me put some Italian seasoning on there. When I put the description down below, I'm just going to give the basics, and then you can add and subtract what you like. All right, I think that's good. That's Italian seasoning. Okay, now it's time for the topping. This looks really good. Really looks, can't wait to taste this. I've never had tomato pie before. This is my first time with this too. A lot of these things that I'm making I've never made before, so it's an experience for me too, to try it, see what it tastes like. Now the cornbread bottom that I put in here, I made that up. That I didn't see that anywhere. I thought this up by myself, but now this topping, I've seen it on YouTube in different places, but it's still not the same as their ingredients. I switch it up some because I don't want to be exactly like other people's recipes. So I try to, if I see something, I get inspiration from it, then I try to change it up a little bit and make it my own. That's the fun about cooking. It's trying new stuff, experimenting. It's the only way you learn. My mom taught me how to cook. I get that from her, and my grandma, she loved to cook. Well, most everybody in my family does. All Mom's family, and they all love to cook and make stuff. So I got that love for cooking from all them. Alright, so there it is. I'm going to stick in the oven. Let's see. I'll put it in the 350 for 45 minutes. Okay? I forgot. I was wanting to put some cornbread on the top of it. I want to crumble a little bit of cornbread up on top. If you want to see how to make cornbread, I have a video on it. I'll try to link it in the description box. But this makes really, this cornbread recipe is really good. It's nice and crunchy on the bottom. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to stick it in the oven. Okay, so here it is right out of the oven. I'm gonna let it cool for just a few minutes before I start to cut it, because it's really, really hot, and this pan's really hot too. So I'm gonna let it cool for just a few minutes. Okay, so it's been cooling for a few minutes. I want to see if we can cut this. Put butter in there also, if you can remember. Looks pretty good. It's not watery. I just didn't get it cut right, but that's what it looks like. Looks pretty good. It's really hot right now. Crust is nice. Here's the bottom. I got a little piece of the crust from the bottom, from the cornbread. Let's see what the cornbread tastes like. All right. I'll taste it. I'll taste the cornbread first. Tastes good. Never had tomato pie before. This is new. Taste the basil in it and the herbs. It's really good. It's down here. Cheesy. It's really good. This is all you need for a supper. You got cornbread, tomatoes, cheese. I mean, I can already tell it's going to be very filling. All right, well, I'll put the recipe down below, and I hope you try this. I hope you enjoy it. The cornbread really takes it in a whole different place there. I mean, to me, that would it's better than a pie crust would be in the bottom of it. But I haven't tried the pie crust, so I don't really know. But the cornbread makes it really good. If you like old-fashioned cornbread, you'll like this. And the tomatoes are good. It's all good. Hope you try it. Let me know what you think. And count your blessings, everybody. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get all every time I upload a video. And I'll see you next time. Bye.